It's that time of year again, and it's time to share some of my very own original, 100% true ghost stories. Listen to them if you dare. This first story comes from my first job. I was about 24 years old and I was working in a library. Yeah. Libraries are notoriously haunted for whatever reason. And I would hear these stories from the librarians about the ghost. The ghost was seeking his vengeance. Oh my god, the ghost. Don't work late at night because of the ghost. Apparently, before it became a library, it was a fire station. And legend has it that some of the firefighters, because of their jobs, never made it back, and they were cursed to walk the halls of the library forever. I was young. I did not believe a word of this cock and bull story the librarians were telling me. One day, I come to work, and we had these night cleaners that would clean the whole library at night from top to bottom. One of the night cleaners was lying flat on her back in the break room, as white as a sheet, saying the words, "It came at me, it came at me, it came at me. I'm never coming back in this place." And she left. And she never, ever, ever came back. I have never seen a human being so scared as that night cleaner. Apparently, talking to one of my colleagues, what happened was she was cleaning the men's bathroom, the door slammed behind her, and then a toilet flushed in front of her. And talking about that still gives me goosebumps. But that wasn't the best part. You see, I heard the story, but still, I was young. It didn't happen to me, so I just kind of put it to one side and kept on going. There was still talk about the ghost roaming the corridors of the library, seeking revenge on the souls of the living, and all these crazy stories from the librarians. And as a 24-year-old guy, I didn't believe two peeps of any of that. But unfortunately for me, one night a week, Thursday night, I had to work the night shift. Isn't that wonderful? So part of my night shift, I would have to go into a secure computer room behind a couple of locked doors, sit down in a terminal, and type in a bunch of commands to start the backups on these big tape drives we had back then. You probably see them in the movies, these reel-to-reel tapes. We had these big old tape drives, and I'd have to type in a bunch of commands on my console to start the tape drives and start the backup of all the files. So I was sitting there quietly at my computer typing in all the commands, and it got dark. It got dark because something was blocking the light from the light in the ceiling. I looked up, there was a shadow cast on the wall, it still gives me chills, of a man in this cape. And I froze. I sat there and I froze. I knew there was something behind me, something big behind me, and something very scary behind me. At that point, I finished up what I was doing. I left that part of the building. I locked the doors behind me. And I never, ever, ever came back to that part of the building at night. I never told anybody about this. I was like, if I tell someone about this, if I jump on the ghost bandwagon with everybody else in this building, they're going to think I'm a complete nut job. But you know what? I know what I saw. I know what I felt, and I made darn sure that was never, ever, ever, ever gonna go into that part of the building again. I still had to work the night shift for quite a few nights, but I never went into that part of the building again. And the weird part is, it was October. It was near Halloween when this happened, which makes it even more creepy. On top of that, the stories were true. It was a firehouse before it became a college, and I assume some people, they never made it back. Whether they're plagued to haunt that area forever, who knows? But it was one of the most scary ghost experiences of my life, because you don't really expect anything like that to be happening when you're working. Other than that, yeah, I've seen 3 or 4 of the ghosts, and throughout the month of October, because it's that scary month, I'll be sharing more of the stories if you manage to stay alive through this month, or hope you do. Anyway, that was my first story. My second story comes from a haunted piano. My parents bought a piano from a newspaper ad that was free to whoever could pick it up. Free piano. I had this weird feeling as we drove around down the road, and I looked back at the trailer and saw this piano back there. I had this weird feeling about the piano. A few weeks went by. Nothing happened. Nothing crazy happened. My sister was playing on the piano one night, and she'd been playing for hours and hours and hours, and finally she said, "Okay, that's enough. I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna go to bed now." She went off to bed, and we're all sitting down in the living room watching TV, and the piano started playing on its own. Ding 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 dong dong, ding 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 dong dong. Everybody froze. There was this chill that went through everybody. Everybody knew that at that point, the veil between the living and the spirit world was just severed. It was so thin. It was just, everything was all together in one moment. We all froze. My dad got up and ran into the living room, thinking there was a burglar in there playing the piano for whatever reason. Burglars don't usually play the piano. There was nothing there. And his words said it all. There are some things in this world we cannot simply explain. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to be putting out more ghost stories throughout the creepy month of October. Until next time, click down there, like, scream, and subscribe, and try to stay alive.